It always starts with an idea, and I think that's the same for pretty much I would assume everyone, unless you're doing like straight up just like improv. But it always starts with an idea. Sometimes I'll be at work, sometimes I'll be walking circles in my room, and I don't know. Sometimes I'm just playing a game, and I'm like, Eureka! No, and an idea comes to my mind, and I'm like.
Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion.
I'm Old Man Raptor, and we got one hell of a guest today, and that is...
Quartz. Hello!
Hello. Thank you very much for joining us. It's an absolute honor to have you on, Ghost.
Yes, it's great to have you,
Appreciate
Ghost.
it.
Really it is.
I'm glad to be here.
So we'll just start with the meat and potatoes of it. What are you known for? How'd you get started, and what got you into VRChat?
Well, I would like to imagine I'm known for my focus on like the more positive sides of VR, VRChat, stuff like that. I make a lot of videos about communities and just sometimes silly videos. How I started with content creation or VRChat? I guess
Both.
creation,
We'll start
right?
with VRChat and then lead to what made you creating, unless creation came first.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
wait,
I can work that out.
Hold that thought. What happened to the yes? Are you changing shit on me without me knowing?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So go back to what you were saying.
Yeah. So, in 2017, I seen a YouTube video, and I was like, "Wow, that looks awesome." I was like, I had no idea this is where VR is, and so I didn't play VRChat because I thought it was a VR only game. So a few weeks later, I realized you could. I got on and just instantly fell in love with this game and the community, and it just like it really 180'd my life in many ways. And from there, I just I always wanted to do content, but I felt really weird about it. It's always a big regret that I didn't just start when I wanted to. But here we are now. And one day I just came up with a video that I've been wanting to do, and I was like, I'm just gonna make it. Worst gonna happen is nobody watches it. And I made it, and once it was actually done, I showed some friends, and they enjoyed it and stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep making videos. I was like, I love to do it, and it was really fun to talk to people because the first one was like a documentary in a sense, and one of my favorite things is to talk to people and learn about them and learn how they view like situations and stuff like that. But for the most part, I focus more on the positive aspects of VRChat and VR in general. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it.
Okay.
Ghost, I got one for you. When you started doing your videos and stuff like this, what was the difficult part of what you got into compared to the good parts and the bad parts? Everybody has that situation. But where were you at when you started doing your videos and stuff like this? Where was your biggest challenge at, is what I'm getting at.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Biggest challenge was myself, because you wouldn't think it, but I'm very like antisocial. I mean, I've got like anxiety and stuff. And to this day, my whole life, I've done performance and stuff like that. I used to be in a band when I was younger, and the hardest part's always been just doing it. Like, you kind of get in your head, and then also when you're interviewing people or something, working with other people, I always just feel so nervous. I like that. That's like the hardest wall for me to come over. Like when I get someone, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna get on, and it's just gonna be an interview, but it'll be like relaxed and stuff. We must be in a non-invite plus because a friend just joined. I mean, a friend just joined.
Yeah, go to an invite plus.
Well, it looks like we just got another one here to have fun with.
Let me figure out. We're doing a podcast. My bad.
Oh.
But yeah, sorry about that.
You're in a studio. There's no mics here.
Yeah, this is the studio.
Well, one of the things we try to do with our videos is we try to use different worlds from all over VRChat for each episode to not just showcase the person coming on, but also the world we're in.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, Rope. I'll see you later, man.
Yeah, see you later. Enjoy.
Sorry,
nice to meet you.
Have a good time. Nice meeting you. Bye.
Yeah, So that was funny. To continue off of what I was saying, it's just yeah, the biggest wall for me has always been just talking to people, and but once I get started, I'm having the time of my life. So I always push myself to get out of my comfort zone. I think that's been really the toughest part with videos and trying to find exactly what I enjoy doing at the same time.
I got you. Makes sense. Nice.
Okay. So you mentioned some of your earlier videos was a documentary. What was the video you said you wanted to start with, and how did that evolve over the course of your uploads?
So the very first video I did was about a topic that many people have made videos about. It definitely wasn't anything original, but I've always wanted to do it. It was about drinking in VR, and if drinking was like, if it's a problem, which that's always up for opinion and stuff. But it was just interesting to talk to, because I've talked to all sorts of different people. Most of them were friends, because this was my first video getting into it, and so it made me a lot more comfortable. But yeah, I mean, once I made that video, it really kicked into me like, oh, I love this. Like, this was awesome. It was fun to sit down, because I even had a friend, one of the friends that was on that video, we were kind of more mutuals than friends. And after something I do after every interview is like, once the camera stopped rolling, I hang out, because I always feel awkward when I'm like, okay, you gotta, like, I can't do the, like, you gotta go, I gotta get the next person. So like, I always give like an hour time slot, even if it's not gonna take that long. And yeah, it's just, I felt like I was able to connect with them more, because we got to talk, and it just really made me realize how much I love hearing what people have to say about stuff. And that kind of spiraled. I made a lot of different types of like just documentaries or videos where I at least interviewed people about certain subjects, like a lot of hours in VRChat type stuff, or just a bunch of stuff. But yeah, now I kind of feel like my focus wants to like shift towards just more, I don't want to say solo content, but more just like having fun style content. Because yeah, I just feel like I've kind of ran that documentary stuff as much as I really can, and it's not something that's really original, which is totally fine. I mean, you can always put your own spin on stuff, but I feel like I want to try to work on something and something new and fresh that I can enjoy.
Okay. So after the initial interview videos you did about drinking, what other subjects did you cover, and what have been some of your favorites ones you've covered over the course of your content?
That's a good question. Well, one of the more popular ones was, I believe it was titled "Why Everyone is a Girl in VRChat."
Oh my God.
And that one.
I
guess
think about 50. I can think about 50 things that have come off the list before you even get started with the video. My God. Okay, I want to hear this.
Yeah,
I gotta hear this.
I mean, I grabbed a bunch of different people, and there's actually an interesting story with this one too. But I grabbed a bunch of people for it, and at one point the video was also supposed to have people that strictly only use male avatars and what they thought about it. But again, I really like to only focus on positive stuff, so I threw that right out of the under the rug type thing, because I was like, I just really don't want to have like, all these people talking about why they like to use, female avatars and what it means to them and stuff, and then just have like, a guy like, one of the typical e-boy guys being like, oh, that's just weird, man. So I was like, oh no, we're not gonna do that. We'll just keep it positive and happy. But it was really interesting to hear, for some people why they did it, and not everybody does something for the same exact reason. Yeah, I mean, I've done videos about like communities that do like different types of like gaming and tournaments. I mean, I've done quite a few, but I can't really think of all of them off the top of my head. But the female one was the female avatar one was pretty fun to make, because it was just really interesting to see. That was probably the most interested I've been when I heard people talk about their reasons. And yeah, I think for those types of videos, that might have been my favorite.
Okay. So on the subject of that, what kinds of things did you learn during that video that stuck with you?
Well, I think a big thing is that I've learned that that there really is just more than you could probably think when you think about something, um, and some people used it for the simple, oh, I like the way females look, but I'm trying to think of what one of them said that was really interesting to me. Something about like it makes it more comfortable for people. Like they don't want to be a girl and stuff like that, but like just on here, there's just there's like total different vibes. Like when you use like a male avatar versus like a female avatar versus like a meme avatar, it almost makes for me that usually gives me like a different energy. When I'm in like a meme avatar, I don't know why I feel like invincible, and yeah, it was just interesting to see what people would say about like how it would it just kind of helps them mentally and stuff like that, and like I said, not everyone was for the exact same reasons. That was like probably a couple of years ago, so it's kind of hard to remember all the people said, but
Understandable.
yeah, it was just it was very enlightening. That was like the first like major like, oh, I was like, wow, people have really interesting things to say, because and these type of videos I always usually include my own thoughts on stuff. Where I try not to get too into it because it's supposed to be about the people, not me. But I always try to throw my 2 cents in. And when I said what I said, I might have been a little bit narrow-minded, where I was like, oh, okay, so I might have accidentally covered what everyone's gonna say. But once people started going, I was like, wow, I never thought about it like that. And I think that's why I really like to do stuff like this, where it's like, oh wow, that just opened like something in my mind, where I'm like, okay, and it helps you learn about how people may think about stuff and all that. So
Okay.
Hey, Ghost, I got a question. Since on the situation that you're talking about, have you ever had a negative situation where somebody comes up and goes, "I saw your video," you know? Don't get me wrong. You get those people that come over, "Hey, I love it," but have you ever got the negative one going, "I didn't get it"? Have you had
oh
anybody like
yeah.
that? Okay.
Oh yeah, I've had I mean I've had people go out of their way to add me on Discord and message me and like, your videos are cringe. I've definitely ran into people.
Wow. Okay.
I ran
You.
into people that just do not like it, and I've even sometimes friends will like make jokes too, but sometimes in a way that's actually helped me too. Like recently, a friend was like, "Man, your videos are so slow," and I was like, I kind of got defensive at first, and then I kind of thought about it, and I was like, dang, I kind of do talk like I'm in slow motion when I'm making my own videos, because I
Okay.
always go for like a calm, relaxing, setting. It's supposed to be like, I try to put like, what do they call that? Lo-fi music and stuff. Like a lot of especially the documentary stuff. It's supposed to be stuff you could watch without physically watching. Like you can listen to it, and but I almost feel like I agree. Like when I watch some of these videos, I'm like, dude, all right, pick it up. Yeah. So sometimes criticism is good, but the negative, like, oh, you're cringe. I mean, I've heard it a lot. I haven't heard it in a while, but I used to hear it a lot. So yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of that.
Gotcha.
So I've got a question for you on that topic a little bit. How would you take negative reviews or constructive criticism? Was it like something easy? Is it something easier for you, or does something you had to learn to deal with?
I think this last year or so, I've like mentally I feel invincible, and I don't mean like in an egotistical way. I just mean like there's not like a lot that really upsets me anymore. And I've always had the mindset where I feel like I should try to think from the other person's perspective. So criticism sometimes, like I said, I got salty at first. I mean, we were also drinking, so but like I got salty at first, but then it kind of like dawned on me, and people that are your enemies. I don't have an enemy, at least not to me. They might hate me, but I don't hate anyone. But like sometimes when someone says something to you, you can kind of take that and spin it and be like, okay, well maybe they are right about something, something like about the videos or something, because I, like I said, I had that friend mention that. So criticism can be good, and you really should, take into account it, and not get too full of yourself, because nothing, no one's perfect. And when you make videos or anything, there's definitely always something you could improve on about it, and something you could improve in the future. So I wouldn't really say I had a hard time, but I mean, everyone gets a little upset sometimes when you get like kind of bad feedback about something, and it's like, or you had this vision in your head and you put something out there and people misunderstood it. Maybe you didn't like, it wasn't comprehensible in the way that you thought it'd be, and people thought it was completely opposite of what you were trying to portray. So yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but I feel like I've dealt with it pretty well, and I respect people that can really go out of their way to tell you, hey, your video sucks ass. So like,
Oh, okay. So I have another question for you. You said you do interviews. Do you do like on the street style interviews, or do you plan them out more particularly? How do you go looking for the people you're talking to, and how did? Yeah, we'll start with that.
Okay. So I've always avoided street interviews because you really don't know what you're gonna get, and it's a little bit harder that way, because then you get like, depending how it is. I mean, you could always take that person and go somewhere else, but like if you go to public world and like, hey man, let me interview you, you're gonna have like people like fly over and just try to say silly stuff that shouldn't be said. The way I've done it is I usually spread the word. Like, I'll make a post like, hey, I'm making a video about how VRChat changed you. Like, if anyone's interested, hit me up. And then usually I select a few people from that, and sometimes I select all of them, and it ends up being a really long video that I shouldn't have done. But yeah, I usually do that instead of just being complete nonsense, which is like I remember I got a comment like forever ago, this guy only interviews girl avatars. And I was like, well, no, I mean, like, the only people that are, applying to be in the video, I just happen to only have female avatars. And that was something I used to be, like, insecure about. I was like, dang. I was like, I don't know. I just, a lot of the people that know me and that are my friends, we all use female avatars. So, yeah, I always just go to the internet. Like, I'll post in, like, a Discord, and I'll post on, like, Twitter and stuff. And like, hey, this is the type of video I'm making. If you want to be a part of it, let me know.
Okay. So another question I have for you as well is, when you started making content, did you have any experience prior, or did you have to learn on the go?
I've technically been making videos since I was 13 years old, and I'm 30 now. They were awful videos, but like I've done all sorts of videos. I used to do a lot of real life videos where it was like jackass. I've done stuff that I thought was funny, but it was like straight up just like slop. Like they call it today, that's what they would call it. It was like slop and just really weird stuff. And then I used to do music, so when I was a band, I would record for us and stuff. But at this level, and what I just mean by that is more so like just actually for once, like, hey, I want to try to make it look professional. I want to edit it, and really just set a standard for myself to to be more like appealing for people, versus like back in the day, like there was no script at all, no plan at all. I would just be silly. So yeah, I've been doing videos for a long time. All those videos are dead and gone, but yeah, I've been doing this since I was a kid, pretty much.
Okay, well, what got you into doing it as a kid, and what were some of your earlier videos like? The time you mentioned you did some stuff like Jackass and Band. What made you do those projects back when you were a kid?
Yeah, so for me, the reason I've always done videos and gotten to stuff like that is I've always loved to entertain. I've always loved to make friends laugh, and something about it at the time definitely used to make me feel special or wanted. And but entertainment has always been like a big thing for me, and making people happy and laugh. So a lot of the videos I used to do when I was younger were just very odd, but like just me being as dumb as possible. And I used to call it like I had like this little mini series, and I called it My Mom's Basement. And I just go around doing stupid stuff, man. That was my show. And like one time I put on a rubber horse head, and I went to a football field and played football against a bunch of kids, like just stupid stuff. And I'm like, ooh, like I would just go. It was literally just like I said, it was slop. But what made me used to do is that it was just fun. Like I would get like barely any views and stuff, but every now and then I would have someone like a comment like, that was funny, or a friend would be like, dude, I watched that video you made. That was pretty funny, dude. And just stuff like that, because I've always mostly comedy side of stuff. Oops, sorry. Mostly comedy side of stuff. I've always enjoyed doing, because making people laugh is probably like one of my favorite things.
So you went from doing stuff to make people laugh, and then you mentioned you did like band videos. What got you into that?
Well, I'm a man of ADHD, and that means you want to do everything in the world. So at one point, I was like, I'm not doing videos. I'm like, I want to be in a band. And so I, for a while, kind of just like, I didn't play any instruments and stuff. I just very poorly did vocals, and I found a group that was starting a band, which by the way, it's so crazy. I had a childhood best friend that I moved away. I didn't have a phone for a very long time in my life. I moved away, and the girl that I grew up with told him I died. Well, anyways, I didn't die. Hi. And I ended up, reconnecting with this friend, and he's like, yeah, my brother-in-law, he's about to start a band, and they're actually looking for like a vocalist. And I was like, whoa, I'm like, that's crazy, because I'm looking for a band. And I went over, and specifically me and the guitarist, like we hit it off, and the music still exists, which I guess YouTube took some of it down, but I still have all the music. But it was probably, I was around 18. That was definitely the best time of my entire life. Like, we'd play shows. We did a battle of bands, one against 50 other bands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was such a good time. We were not great, that is for sure. But it was just so much fun. I used to have all the bandmates come over to my little small place, and we would, like, over the weekend, because some of us were still in school. And we would we'd jam out every weekend and stuff, and I think about it all the time. But yeah, ADHD is gonna be the answer for that. I've been all over the place. You know how hard it is for me not to quit videos right now and pick up a new thing to do for 5 months and then to go back.
Gotcha. Ghost, I just got one question. What was your parents at all this was going down? I just, how parents are. I'm one myself. They go, oh, you needed, and you're going, nope. I can just see you.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so my parents, I have to assume they always knew I was crazy. And I feel like that's very apparent.
Crazy kid, don't worry about it. He's crazy, don't worry about this shit.
But at the same exact time, for better or worse, my parents have always given me the freedom to just do whatever I want, and in some ways been very supportive, especially during the band thing. My mom was very supportive. She's like, wow, this is gonna be your calling, and you guys are gonna be big and stuff. And we ended up all breaking up. But yeah, I mean, my parents have always been super supportive. I always actually still, me and my mom live together. I'll probably live with her as long as she's around. But I was just talking to friends, like sometimes like we just make random noises or say something really stupid while we're talking in Discord, and they're like, dude, what does your mom think? And I'm like, oh, she just knows I'm an idiot. She's like, I don't she has to know I'm just joking around.
Okay. So Of the era of like the band era and before, were there any memories that have stuck with you or things you still think about from back then? What kinds of experiences do you look back to?
Yeah, I mean, it's always just when I think back on like the old videos or the band stuff, I always just kind of think of all the good times. Like I said, it was the most memorable stuff for the band. It was just so awesome to. It'd be a Friday night. All my friends would come over. We'd just write music, and then we'd record. Like, I was still recording stupid stuff at the time, so like we'd record together, and just be as weird as possible. But it just felt like those kind of memories where it's like, oh, I'm just. It's just like pure happiness because when there's a lot of bad times in life, but it's so odd that when every time you think about the past, you call it the good days. And these right here will be the good days in a few years. So, yeah, every time I think about it, like just getting on stage and just like looking around at my friends and like once we started, it was just like I think about that all the time. Sometimes I wish I was still in a band because it was just so magical just being able to perform together and just have a good time and then share laughs and you know not the people that are watching have no idea how dumb we really are.
Ghost, I gotta go for one. Have you ever brought any of that stuff that you did in the past over into what you're doing now? Even just a little bit of it.
like the just being really random and dumb.
Anything that
Oh,
gave you that forward going. This feels rock solid. I'm gonna and then you look back after you saw it, going, wait a minute, that looks like something I did 10 years ago. What the hell? And now it's here again. That kind of deal. Deja vu, crap. Everybody has it. I'm just curious. Have you
Yeah.
ever had that situation?
Yeah, I guess like with like when I used to make silly videos with friends and stuff, that's very reminiscent now when like lately I haven't been making videos, I've just been streaming like me and my friends playing like Bone Lab and other VR games. And I mean we're just being so random and like role playing and acting out stupid stuff. And this is like something that my younger self was like, this is the type of stuff that I enjoy. I feel like it's bringing like the kid out in me again, where I'm like, I'm just literally just doing stuff to have pure fun with friends, and yeah, I think that's pretty much what I've kind of brought from the past to now. Is like now it's starting to come back to just being a little all over the place and random.
Nice. Okay.
So, and more towards your current era, what were you expecting going into content creation? What you're doing now, were you expecting anything? And has your expectations changed over the course of you learning and growing?
I was expecting $1 million, man. No,
God, if you have that much, share with the rest of us. We need a few.
Get that on my. No, my expectations for the very first video was 10 people were gonna watch it, and they were all gonna be my friends. So I didn't have any high expectations because that's how it's somewhat always been. Like my videos in the past never even broke 1,000, and I sometimes never broke 100, and that's completely fine. To me, that's awesome. I've never really been about like views and stuff like that. Anyways, we just kind of had fun doing it. But when I released this video, I was like, all right, well, 10 friends will watch it, and they'll give me a pat on the back and be like, nice video, bro. And then I don't know what that video's at now, but like I always have this weird thing where I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna wait 24 hours. So I guess I do somewhat care. I'm gonna wait 24 hours and see, what happened to the video. And I waited that 24 hours. When I came back, there's a few comments, and like I think it was like at like 1,000 views, and I was like, whoa. I wasn't expecting anyone to really care. So, yeah, I mean, my expectations were low. I have learned that people definitely want it more than I do, and that can be that can be said for pretty much anything you do in life. You could do whatever you want to do, but sometimes people want it more than you. Because I definitely could put out videos like once a week or at least once every other week. I'm just lazy, and but I would love to not be lazy.
Okay. Oh, so now, as a question, could you walk us through your process of making content, like from the idea to the publish? What is your process like? Are you enjoying the episode you're watching so far? Then feel free to check out the rest of the stuff we have over here in the Metaverse Degen network. We have other interviews from everyone from VRChat staff to VCAT and PJKT. We talked with world builders and creators. So if you want to learn more about VR and VRChat, check it out. Also, we have a actual play podcast, Hold My L, which honestly we're just a bunch of idiots rolling dice. So if you like that kind of thing, feel free to come hang out with us over there. And if you should find any of their socials and stuff, you can go on metaversedegen.card.co. Over on Patreon, we actually started putting the pre-show content for Hold My L, which like we talk about before the show, and as we all kind of start funneling into the world, getting ready. So if you want to go see that as well, feel free to go to our Patreon, which if a few people already subscribed, we'd like to give a special thanks to Frozen, Future Oracle, Aliquum, Niche, and Forbidden Zero. Thank you very much. Funny little hint, Forbidden Zero is also the DM.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, my lawyers have told me not to talk about. No, I'm joking. So,
Well,
it
we're
always
screwed
starts.
now, Lion. The lawyers are involved in way. We're screwed now. That's all I can say.
It always starts with an idea, and I think that's the same for pretty much. I would assume everyone, unless you're doing like straight up just like improv. But it always starts with an idea. Sometimes I'll be at work. Sometimes I'll be walking circles in my room, and I don't know. Sometimes I'm just playing a game, and I'm like, Eureka! No, and an idea comes to my mind, and I'm like, how can I expand upon that? So let's use the why is everyone a female in VRChat thing. It kind of popped up in my head, and I was like, man, I am actually kind of curious about this. So then what I do is I start to write about it. And I'm like, well, what kind of stuff do I want to learn about this? And what kind of cadence do I want with like, how do I want to word stuff? Because yes, I could just, straight talk into the camera and guess, just say, but it does feel nice when you have a rough script or a full script. You can do a rough script, full script, but I've done a little bit of both here and there. So usually I would script stuff out, and I don't mean like, oh, I like make people say anything. I mean like script stuff out of what I'm going to say, and like kind of try to like, oh, I want to make it look cinematic or something. And I sleep on it because the next day I wake up and I'm like, well, maybe I worded that weird, or why would I include that? Kind of like the whole thing where I was going to include the male avatars, and so it gives you time when you don't just like full send it. It gives you like time to like really think about what you're trying to get out of something. So once I get a script going and everything, and I'm like, you know what, I like it. If it's an interview type thing, I start right away putting out posts, or I'll message people like, hey, I know you like to do this, or you're interested in this, or I notice you only use female avatars. Like, would you be interested in like talking about why? And once I get that scheduled, do the interviews, and then the editing is always the best and worst part, because editing's fun because you get to make the video exactly how you want it. However, it takes way longer than people think. It's the longest part for me, especially because I'm like, even though I scripted how I want it to be, I'm like, how do I make this like comprehensible and not like weird and all over the place? And it takes probably the longest time depending on the video. But yeah, that's pretty much my thing from like start to finish.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for explaining that. It means a lot that you did. So over the course of some of the videos you've made now, what have been some of your favorites versus your audience's favorites? Are they different? Are they similar?
Yes, very, very, very different, very different. Okay, so I've made 2 Minecraft VR videos, and I mean they tanked. I mean, like no one gave a crap. Like the only people that did were like a couple of friends, and those were probably some of my like favorite videos. And so it's really odd. I feel like anytime I make a video and I doubt myself, I'm like, was this good? I was like, why did I like once it's done, it's all said and done, I put all these hours of work into it. I'm like, was this good? Like, why did I even make a video about this a topic or blah blah blah? You know, I'm like, it might do okay, I guess. Those videos always do the best, and then the videos where I'm like, yes, you're a rock star, baby. I'm like, you nailed that. I was like, you don't give yourself a pat on the back. I'm like, this is a good video. It's like 30 views for the first day. I'm like, okay, well. Because just in comparison to like the other videos, like you know, the next day they'll have like a thousand or a couple thousand views, and then that one, like you know, you work really hard on something and you love it, and it's just like no one cares, and it's like that's a hard pill to swallow. When you make something and you put all your effort into it, and everyone's just like, cool, dude. I think that one's rough, but yeah, the viewers versus what I like to do has always been very different. But that hasn't really stopped me from making stuff that I want to make, and that's very apparent because I still make videos I want to make, and those ones always do bad.
You said something that was quite interesting. You said that the videos that you doubt yourself do better. So when you doubt a video, you still post it anyway, or are there any that you kind of shelved in that process?
So up until literally a few weeks ago, I've never made a video and not posted it. So I talked about earlier the comfort zone, and you are your biggest enemy for a lot of things. And self-doubt. The thing is, when you're working on a video, you're seeing it 100 million times, especially when you're editing it. So like to you, like maybe it's kind of dulled itself out by the time you're done and you're looking at it. But yeah, I mean I've doubted quite a few videos, especially even that first one. The drinking one was one of the videos where like I'm just not gonna finish this. I was like I don't know, and then I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll just do it. Yeah, so I still post because you never really know what you're gonna get out of it. And I think when you start a project and you work on it, once it's done and you finish it and you post it, you feel good about yourself. Like, hey, I did it. I actually did it. And yeah, I always just put stuff out there. And I mean, because different opinions, like you know, said with the audience versus you, and some people might enjoy it. And but recently, I did 2 videos back to back. Was like I started doing it. I was like, the first one I was like, wow, this is a lot like the video I just did. So I scrapped that one. And bless the heart of the friend that I had in it, because I had him in this next video, and I didn't finish this one either. And I was like, I just don't. I feel like lately I'm thinking more of like what I want to do, and as much as I love to do interview videos and documentaries, which I still will, I just really want to be free and creative in the way that I want to be. And right now, I feel like I'm really looking for something that's new and fresh that hopefully hasn't been done. But even if it has, you know, just something I'm really gonna enjoy. That might be the ADHD talking, but you know, I want to make a new type of video that I haven't done yet. And so I think that's something that stopped me from those 2 videos, and also this month being brutal, working on friend stuff.
Fair.
I got one for Ghost. I got one for you. So when you have somebody out of nowhere, they don't know them from Adam or anything like this, walk up and say, hey, I saw your video and everything else, and they give you a compliment. What do you get out of that when it hits you like that? Not knowing this person from Adam. What do you get from it?
That's a great question, and I gotta say that's like, for me, that's been like one of the greatest feelings in the world. And don't get me wrong, I love when a friend is like, dude, I seen your new video and it was cool, man. It was a good video. Good job. You know, that does feel good. But some part of your brain's like, well, they're saying that because, you know, they're your friend. But to have like a stranger, which I haven't had a lot of that, but I have had it happen, where if I'm on like a great pug or something, have a stranger come up to you and be like, I know you. like, oh, I just watched your video about blah blah blah, and like it was, dude, I liked it. I was like, I'm a subscriber now and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it just feels really good and really motivating to hear that there's an audience out there that actually enjoys what I do, and when you look at something, if a video gets 100 views, even right, or anywhere from like 100 to 1,000. And you kind of put that into play with how many people actually like play VRChat. That's actually a decent amount of the population. Obviously, the higher, the more likely. So it's like if you get like 1,000 views on a video, that's a large portion of VRChat. So you like, but it's so weird to me. It's so foreign to me because I haven't really had that experience. Which obviously in real life would have been harder anyways. But like doing videos before, to where someone was like, "Hey, I know you. I've watched your videos," and I always feel so awkward. I have no idea what to say. I'm just like, "Thanks, man." Anyways, and then I log out. No, I don't. I just say thank you and stuff, and I just feel awkward because I don't want to like seem like I have an ego or anything like that. And so I'm just like, thank you, I appreciate it. But yeah, it really does. It makes me so happy to hear when people genuinely enjoy my videos. But yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier you also do streaming. Is that a bit of a new venture for you? And how is that in contrast to what you post on YouTube?
Streaming has been more fun for me lately because I don't have to worry about much because I don't have to really script anything. I could just go in with like a vague plan. And the way I've been streaming, no idea how many people are watching. I don't even have a counter for that, but probably 0 most of the time. But yeah, I did think I might have somewhat of an audience since I had a YouTube audience, but that hasn't really translated well. I think streaming's way harder than making videos in that sense, because if you don't stream every single day, like you just won't grow. And if you do start to build an audience, which I've had in the past, because I actually streamed once when I was younger, when Twitch was newer and it was easier to grow. But yeah, even if you start to build an audience, you don't stream for like 3 days, that hurts bad. But yeah, streaming's just been fun. We've like I said, we've been getting on Phone Lab and sometimes VRChat or other games. And what's cool about it is when people do because I've been putting clips out there a lot from the streams, and people comment on those, and when people like that, that's a good feeling. But it's a good feeling because all we're doing is really just having fun. We're just being ourselves. Sometimes we're semi role playing or something, but we're just being ourselves and having fun. And that's been a breath of fresh air in comparison to making videos where I talk like this, and I'm like, "Hey guys, this is my video about people using female avatars." I always feel like, because I've had people that have met. Speaking of people that have met, I've had people that have met me. We're like, "Oh, dude, I thought you were gonna be like robotic Mr. Beast kind of guy where he's like, but you're kind of normal," and I'm like, "Thank you, I appreciate that." Because I actually feel bad when people meet me sometimes, because the way I portray myself in those types of videos to how I actually am is just so different. I always act so serious in those videos. Well, for the most part, I always act so serious in the documentaries and stuff, which are usually my more popular videos. So when people meet me, I'm somewhat insecure. I'm like, "Oh God," they're probably like, "Dude, what's going on with this guy?"
So what makes you want to portray yourself differently in your content versus you yourself?
It's situational. If I'm making a video, let's say about sign language in VRChat, I do not want to make jokes. I don't want to, I want to be taken seriously, and I want the situation to be taken seriously. And that's been the truth for most of the documentary videos where I interview people, because I don't want them to make them look like a clown. I don't want to make the situation look like, it's a joke. So in some videos, I am just myself, but I'm still myself. It's just I can be serious, and I feel like I need to know when to be serious, and those are definitely times. Like when people are talking about touchy subjects, like what changed them in VR chat, I never once want to make someone look like a fool or make it look like I'm making fun of the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So when you it's some of the subjects how has VRChat changed you? If that is a video you've done, how have how do you handle touchy subjects in your content? Or yeah.
So I really think about it before I do it. And once I start to talk to people, I don't know what they're going to say, and sometimes they say the same thing as someone else, and sometimes they say something like said where you weren't really expecting it. But one thing, and I do this for all the interviews, is when I'm like recording with someone, I'm like, hey, if you don't you don't have to be nervous and stuff. If there's something you don't you end up saying and you don't want that in the video, like just let me know. I'm not gonna I won't put it in the video. If you want to redo something, like I make cuts and stuff anyway, so you don't have to worry about So I always just try to make sure they know that I'm not going to use them like to like, oh, they accidentally said something juicy. So I always tell people like don't worry about it. If you say something you don't like, you have pretty much up until I'm done to like really let me know. I mean, if someone said something and I posted the video, this hasn't happened, but if it did happen, or if I post a video and someone's like, hey, so your video just came out, I didn't really think about it, and I said something I really didn't like, I would delete the video in a heartbeat, because like I said, I don't want to make anyone look like a fool, and because I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Like if I messed up, and accidentally spilled something private that I really didn't want to say, and someone put it out there, then I would feel pretty bad. So yeah, I always just try to reassure people when I do those type of things, and like I mean I've had. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I've had a time where someone was like, "Can you just not put me in the video?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So and yeah, so that's why I said I can be my usual goofy self, but for stuff like that, I just want to take them seriously.
Okay. Now, moving on from this to your streams that you've done, how many you've done, and what have been some of your favorite moments streaming?
You have to go to the TikTok for that. No, I'm joking.
Sorry,
It'll be in the description for you to go find.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, zip and gone. Yeah.
So with streaming, I couldn't tell you how many I've done. For a while there, we were going kind of ham. Like probably quite a few months back, we were doing like streaming almost every day, and definitely I was posting a clip from the stream every single day. As for favorites, it's always the ones where we're laughing hysterically, like because it just brings so much joy. Where it's like, oh, dude, just kind of bringing that memory back. Where it's like, oh, we were just having so much fun. There was one that actually did pretty well on TikTok, which I only recently this year started using TikTok because I was like, why would I do that? But no, TikTok's awesome. But we were playing Bone Lab, and you can like forcefully ragdoll yourself with a mod. And I jumped through a window, and I turn around, and my friend hasn't came through yet, and all of a sudden he comes through, and he ragdolls, so he like his legs hit the bottom of the windowsill, and he just like rolls over, and it was just the way it happened. I just started like in the video, I'm just dying laughing, and I pick him up like, oh no, he got paralyzed. And he's just like, oh, and he grabs onto me. I'm like, let go of me, and I just throw him down a flight of stairs, and then he falls down the stairwell, and he's like, oh. And people really loved that one, and stuff like that has been why I've been enjoying streams more, because it's almost like an endless bloopers reel. Like, you're just doing stupid stuff. And especially, I think it's more magical when something funny happens that wasn't planned. Like I love making skits, but when something like that happens, where you're just not expecting it, those have always been some of the most funniest things to me, and that's why I've been enjoying streaming, because we've just been goofing off, and it's made a lot of funny moments for us that is awesome, because even if I never blow up as a creator, it's gonna be so cool. Like I said, in a few years when you look back, you can have those memories. Like, dude, you remember when we used to play Bone Lab, or So yeah, streaming's just been a blast.
Ghost, I got a question. Do you do your own work on your streams? What I'm getting at is you don't have any assistance. Not the people you work with, but when you're cutting this, adding this, that, are you doing it all, or do you have somebody that helps you out in the process?
If I had someone that helped me, I would make 1,000,000 videos a week. But I don't. So yeah, I do everything myself, and for better or worse. And it's weird because as much as I would love to have like an editor or something like that, I do enjoy being able to do it myself. It's a good feeling, and you get to get the video exactly how you want it. Well, especially once you like start to learn stuff and you know how to do things. I just feel like I would feel weird having someone else edit my stuff and put it out there for me. But sometimes I definitely think about if I ever got in a good financial position, like if video started doing well where I made money off that, I'd probably give like all that money to like an editor so that they could just they could do that, because that would just give me more time to just keep doing stuff, because I work full-time job. I come home, if we stream or something or record a video, it's like that whole day is like completely taken up once I have to start editing videos.
I got you.
Okay. So how do you balance content work-life balance between everything, may I ask? Because you have a schedule things out, or do you just kind of go in and YOLO it the whole time?
I do it in the most unhealthy way.
Oh, wow, that's a subject of its own. You just opened up a can of worms there, boy. Wow.
No, so it's kind of rough because the reason I do many things, especially like when I play games and stuff, is to be around friends. And not all my friends want to be in videos, make videos, want to stream, etc., etc. So it's very rough because I'm very inconsistent. Like I said, quite a few months back, we were streaming like at least 5 days a week. We were putting out a video every single day. I mean, like grinding. But then I can't really remember what happened. I'd probably assume like a game came out or something, and we're like, "Yo, let's hang out and play this. Should we stream it?" Nah. And so I would love to get on a schedule, and this is really interesting to me because a lot of the questions you guys are asking was something that was just talked about with like me and some friends tonight and yesterday. I would love to eventually get a schedule going, and even if it's not a schedule, just be more consistent, because right now I feel like I've been in a very stagnant spot. I mean, heck, I haven't even released a video in like 4 months, like a full video. I've only been doing like streams and clips, but I want to get to the point where, I have me and my friends that want to like do content, and like, let's just full send it and just have fun. And if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. If it doesn't, we still had fun.
So during your journey, I have a question for you as well. What is some advice or lessons that you've learned in your journey that have stuck with you that you still turn to, or any of the above?
So I think for advice, some of it I take myself, some of it I should, but I don't. One thing is, because I've had some friends ask, like, like they've asked for advice and stuff, but stuff that I've kind of picked up is, if you're making a type of video that technically exists, like if you're doing documentaries, there's tons of people that have done documentaries on VRChat and stuff. So I think you should try to look at someone bigger than you that's making similar content, and kind of just take a look at it and see what, maybe get some pointers off that. You don't have to copy them or anything like that, but like, you'd be like, oh wow, I like how they do stuff like this, and it's like, see what's, because obviously what they're doing is working. That could help influence you. And I think I said earlier, but there's always something you can improve on, and that's something that has helped me. I feel like, and it would help a lot of people. Is if you make a video right then and there, it might even be best to assume it's trash, but even if it's not, um, you should look at your videos and be like, well, how do I go? Like, where do I go from here? Like, what should I work on? I always watch a video and pick one thing. It's like maybe maybe my audio was all over the place, or maybe I dragged this on for too long, and so it's always good to try to like look at something and ask yourself, how can I improve this? Yeah, I feel like there's probably a lot I could say, but that's probably like the main thing is like always try to work on improving yourself, and try not to worry too much about, like, as we talked about earlier, people that are haters, because no matter what kind of content you make, you're gonna have haters. Oh, you know what? I have to give advice on this then. Make content that you want to make, because if you make a specific kind of content, you build that audience. And if you're doing it just to try to get viewers, well, you're not going to be so happy. Like, say you want to make, just happy videos, comedy videos. If you started your channel with drama, like you're a drama tuber, as they call them, right? And because that does usually hit the nail for a lot of people. People love drama. I don't, but people love drama. So, you build the whole viewer base, and then you try to do your normal content. Those people are going to still be there. And I think you should always just stick to, regardless of what, how many views that you get or whatever, I think you should always stick to something that you want to do, or you're just not going to have fun doing it. And you may even regret it in the future because of stuff like that, where people follow.
I remember seeing some videos where some people have been locked into a certain kind of thing because, as you said, they started the drama content and now they want to do fun things, but they can't now because all the drama people are always angry about things. Being locked into something makes a lot of sense.
And another thing too, Ghost, is what I always tell Lion: if you got one person, no matter what it is, that's one person compared to nothing. That's 50% of something is better than 50% of nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
And here's another one that most people don't realize: if you get bad content, you got them still. Think about it. You still got that one person,
True.
No matter what the ordeal is. That's what's funny.
Yeah, speaking of having one person, for streams, I don't really have, at least on my thing, I don't have the option to look at how many people are watching. There's been one viewer that's been at like pretty much majority of my streams. Her name's Starlight, so shout out to Starlight. She's always there. She's a very kind person and stuff, and I think that's something that's very motivating and feels good. Like you said, that one person, and that means the world just know that at least somebody is, somebody cares about what you do, and they're there to support you. So shout out Starlight.
Oh, so another question I have, and it sounds like you are generally around VR quite a lot. What keeps you coming back to VR, whether for content or your own leisure, since you joined in what you said, 2017? That's a long time.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah, so October 23rd or 25th is my 8th year with VR chat.
Oh, wow.
So VR, the concept of VR ever since I was a kid was really awesome to me. And when phone VR started coming out, I was like, wow, oh, this is trash. Never mind, VR is garbage. So I kind of just like shoved that memory away, and like I said, in 2017, once I seen VRChat, I was like, holy cow. I was like, this is where VR is at. Because everybody loves like the idea of like, oh, we get to go into a metaverse. We could be whatever we want. Like at the time, I was really into like Hero Academia. So I was like, dude, I'm going to play VRChat. And when are we going to be Bakugo? Yeah, I mean, I was locked in right away. But what's really kept me here for the most part has been the friends, because like right away I met some awesome people that I'm still friends with, to this day, and it's just VR's. I mean, there's nothing really like VRChat specifically. There's nothing like this outside, outside of VRChat, which I guess there is other game, but the community and like how this game's evolved and stuff. And I just I take breaks, but I always have to come back because it's just like it just feels like home in a way. And but yeah, I would say it's mostly the friends that keep me around.
Okay. Oh, so we'll ask you the last couple of questions as we start wrapping this up a little bit. First of which is the name used in VRChat. Where'd it come from, and why do you use it?
My username.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right, so this is not my original username. My original username was aesthetic Dogens. That's ass, not aesthetic. And as you can probably see why I don't have that name. So I don't know where I came up with that name, but I had that name for a while, aesthetic Dogens, and obviously couldn't use it in like most places, and because it had the word ass in it, and so eventually I was just like, okay, I'm gonna bite the bullet. I was like, I'm gonna change my name, and I was at the time really into this series called Hoseki no Kuni, or Land of the Lustrous, and it's about gems, little gem girl, they thems, and there's a character called Ghost Quartz, and they kind of had like my style, what I like and stuff. And yeah, it's nothing crazy. I actually tried to get rid of this name to go back to Aesthetic Dogens, and then VRChat changed the character limit, so I couldn't have that here. And then I was like, plus I was like, you know what? I don't really want to be marketed as ass. And
Marketing
so I was like, I think
ass.
yeah. So I was like, I think I'll keep this name. I've thought about changing my name before, but I was like, nah, I've had this for so long, and it's really grown on me. But yeah, it's nothing like super special. It was from an anime I was watching.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Nice.
And the avatar you're in. Why did you choose it? Why do you use it? Is there anything about it that means anything to you?
That's a really good question. I've had a cajillion avatars throughout my years, but I started with technically I started with Bakugo, but when I started trying to make my own avatars, I started with a white hair, red eyes avatar, which I can't switch into because thanks VRChat, but I can't switch into because a lot of old avatars are officially dead. And all my friends, they all had white hair, red eyes. I've switched it for many reasons throughout the years, sometimes to adapt to certain things, sometimes for style. But when I switched to a female avatar, I mean, I was stuck on that forever. And one of the reasons I found it hard to use a male avatar was simply that the options sucked. I mean, like, I just could not get what I wanted out of a male avatar, and I tried again and again, and there's so many male avatars I have that I used for like a day, and once I was like in VRChat, I was like, yeah, I'm going back to my female avatar. And then I eventually got to this one, and originally it was blue hair and everything, but now this is like exactly what I wanted. So for me, it's just like I feel like I finally hit the nail where I wanted what I wanted the avatar to look like. Yeah, I wanted it to look a little edgy, but I didn't want it to look too edgy, and I didn't want it to look super masculine. You know, I was kind of looking like for like a big neutral on something, and then a character I can use and expand off of in the future. So yeah, I mean this for me. I went back to the white hair and red eyes because it was kind of like not literally, but like a family thing. Because like me and all my friends we all used to do white hair and red eyes. And people were used to me being blue and pink for a long time. But to me, I was like, I think I just want to do what I want to do. For a while, I stayed blue and pink because that's what people liked and that's what people were used to. But at the end of the day, I was like, I just want to be what I want to be. And I still use my female avatar sometimes, but I just feel more confident and comfortable in the male avatar now that I finally got what I think is a good avatar for me.
Ooh, Well, thank you very much for answering those. It's one of the questions Raptor and I wanted to ask near the end of almost everybody, because sometimes you wonder why do people choose to represent themselves the way they do.
Yep.
So, thank you. We appreciate hearing yours.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you very much.
Mm.
Thank you.
And if anyone in the audience wishes to reach out and find you, where would they go to find you?
Is Yellow Pages? No, I'm joking. So
What?
I think I put an ad on Craigslist. No, so we in most places it's ghost_quartz. In other places, good luck. But for the most part, you can type in Ghost Quartz, and you should be able to find me on places like YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, even Instagram, which isn't doing so great. But like, I'm a bit all over. I'm on Blue Sky everywhere. Just look for this goofy guy with one eye.
Well, all of that will be for you in the audience down below for you to click and find. And then over in the YouTube video, will be down in the video description. Spotify will be over in the episode description. Same labels, so it should be pretty easy to find Ghost Quartz and all their links. And the question we have for you as well is, what is your favorite VR video game if you play VR? If not, you should, and let us know if you do. We'd love to hear about it. And as always, Raptor, you know the thing.
You know, folks, no matter what you are and what you want to be, even if you're picking yourself and picking your brain going, God, should I be male, female, this, that, cat, rat, whatever it might be. But always remember, when you get done, after all it's said and done, and you put the gear down, you're going, God, I still feel like I am here, and I feel special, even if I don't have something sticking out to here. We'll talk to you later. Bye.